Let me start with a simple question. When was the last time that you were uncomfortable? Now, maybe it was that first day on the job. Maybe it was that awkward conversation with a friend or a colleague. Maybe it was that task that you didn't know how to do, or standing in front of a large group of people broadcasted for the world to see. But it's those potentially uncomfortable situations where real innovation begins. That's because every big breakthrough starts with someone stepping out into the unknown and asking, why not? We all love to say that popular phrase, think outside the box. But in all honesty, most of us are still sitting inside the box. And how can we truly innovate if we don't know what's outside of it? Just thinking outside the box is easy. Anyone can do that from the comforts of their living room. Just thinking means imagining and trying to innovate without risking anything. You can plan, theorize, and strategize, all while staying safely inside your familiar routine. Being outside the box, that's different. That's putting yourself in a situation where you're no longer just observing the innovation, but you are the innovation. And being outside the box means deliberately entering discomfort. It means taking on jobs, opportunities, and experiences that push you beyond what you know as safe, reliable, and easy. And here's the crucial part. It's not just about personal growth. Being outside the box can help you impact the lives of others in ways that thinking alone never could. When I first got to Baylor University, it was really easy to gravitate towards the familiar. It was easy to stay inside my box. I joined the organizations I was familiar with. I spent time with those who seemed similar to me, and I tried at all costs to avoid uncomfortable situations, like raising my hand in class, like speaking in front of large groups. Let's just say I was very committed to not doing that, and see how that turned out. Society has long believed that comfort is the catalyst to innovation, from air conditioning in every building to surrounding ourselves with the people most similar to us. Human nature has always been about minimizing discomfort. And while I'm not saying we should get rid of AC in Texas, no, we certainly need it, I am asking us to think about those situations in our life where leaning into discomfort can actually help us to grow. Here's my theory. Your box is your safe space, your comfort zones, your routines, your I'll just stay quiet in this meeting so no one calls on me type of energy. And most of us don't think outside the box. We actually just redecorate the inside. We hang out some fairy lights, a motivational poster, and call it growth. And there's nothing wrong with that box, but if we stay inside of it for too long, we can begin to believe that that's the only thing that matters. And that limits us, our perspectives of the world, and our ability to innovate. Real innovation begins when we step outside the box, when we immerse ourselves in new responsibilities and engage with the unfamiliar. In my freshman year, in the second semester, I was asked to serve as a community leader in Baylor's Honors Residential College. And in this role, I was pushed outside my box. I was suddenly responsible not only for the freshmen in my hall, but for the sophomores, juniors, and seniors as well. But that helped me to grow in my relationships with others, critical skills like conflict resolution and leadership. And while I didn't know it at the time, I was innovating. By stepping outside my comfort zone, I was helping my community to grow, and I, in turn, grew myself. I also serve as student regent on Baylor's Board of Regents. Out of 34 board members, I'm just one of 2 students and the only undergraduate. Let me just say, that pushes me outside my comfort zone. But it also helps me to grow. It helps me to adopt a posture of listening and learning, helps me to think more critically about the future, and it helps me to realize those important perspectives that only I can contribute. Here's the paradox. Through these experiences, I have grown not only in my relationships with others, but I've grown in the ways that in which I can talk about how I can innovate together. Let me return to what I was talking about earlier, which is not just thinking outside the box, but being outside the box. You can read a book about leadership, but it's not until you lead a team through real challenge that you truly understand it. You can study conflict resolution in theory, but it's not until you're there in that room mediating a disagreement between 2 residents who absolutely hate each other's guts that you truly feel it. And you can imagine what it's like to serve on a board, but it's not until you're there in that room, surrounded by people with decades of experience, that you truly see how responsibility influence, and decision-making really work. Now, being outside the box is messy. It's unpredictable, uncomfortable. You might stumble and you might feel inadequate. But that's exactly where real innovation begins. Because here's the paradox. The closer you are to discomfort, the closer you are to innovation. When you begin to immerse yourself in new environments, perspectives, and responsibilities, you see challenges others don't see, you develop empathy beyond what any textbook could teach, and you inspire innovation in those around you because your willingness to step outside the box signals to others that they can too. So here's my challenge for you. Find your box and then step outside of it. If you're a science major, go ahead and take that arts class. If you're an introvert, well, sit next to those new people at church or at school. And if you're just terrified about public speaking, congratulations, you're next year's TEDx speaker. When we stay inside the box, we can recreate what already exists. But when we step outside the box, we create what doesn't. And that's the heart of innovation. So the next time you feel stretched, uncertain, or maybe just a little uncomfortable, lean in. That may just be the moment where real innovation is beginning. That's because innovation starts where comfort ends. When we don't just think outside the box, but when we live outside the box as well. God bless you. Thank you.